How would you like to be able to own a new home even if you can't get a loan? Hi, my name is Adam Loveridge with Rent-to-Own Homes Utah, and let me thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to find out the strategies that you can use to own a new home even if you can't get financing in today's crazy mortgage market. If it's okay, I'd like to tell you very quickly about who we are. Like I said, I'm with Rent-to-Own Homes Utah, and we work exclusively with buyers like you who, for whatever reason, can't get financing in today's troubled mortgage market and are tired of throwing money away on rent. Even if you've had damaged credit history and are unable to get financing. You're a homeowner who wants to upgrade but can't get a second loan. Maybe you're self-employed, new to the area, or you've even had insufficient time on the job. Regardless of your circumstances, we can work with you to help you own a new home quickly and easily. Now, obviously, in this marketplace, home prices are at rock bottom levels. There has never been a better time to buy a home. Interest rates are incredibly low. But what happens if you can't get a loan to take advantage of this huge opportunity? Well, folks, rent-to-own, also known as a lease option, has become the best way to purchase a home and lock in a low market purchase price today while you work to secure financing at any time, typically between 12 to 24 months. Let's talk about how rent-to-own works. You first pay a non-refundable option fee. Now, this is really key, ladies and gentlemen, because your option fee secures your purchase price for the home. That's what gives you the ability to lock in a low market purchase price. And your option fee is also applied toward your down payment at closing. Okay, and then very simply, you just lease the house until closing. This also gives you an opportunity to start building equity in your new home immediately through things like rent credits that we'll discuss here in just a minute. Now, unlike a traditional lease, you're responsible for the maintenance on the house. However, unlike a traditional lease, most homeowners are going to have few concerns over pets or improvements you'd like to make and things along these lines. Now, let's talk about minimum down payment requirements, because this seems to be a big question that we get over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, the minimum down payment requirement on a rent-to-own is the same thing as a traditional mortgage. Okay, right now FHA does about 90 to 95% of the financing out there, and they require 3.5% down. So if you want to own your home, you're going to have 3.5% down when you go to close on your house. Okay, now putting more down actually will increase your financing options. So if you want to look at going, say, conventional with financing, they're usually 5 to 10%. However, they're going to be able to offer more attractive interest rates. Now, putting more down will also give you the ability to do owner financing, and usually that's around 10% plus to structure an owner financing contract. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute. Now, let's give you an example of a down payment. So, on a $200,000 home purchase price, 3.5% to qualify for FHA is going to be $7,000 minimum that you're ultimately going to have down on the house. Now, rent credits can ultimately be used for additional down payment monies if needed. And let's talk about how rent credits work. Now, typically in a rent-to-own situation, your lease rate, or the amount that you're leasing the house for every month, is usually about the cost of the house when financed. Okay, so ultimately sellers like to see that you're going to be able to afford the home when it comes time to turn around and take out traditional financing. Now, amounts that you put toward the lease rate, or amounts that you pay in excess of the lease rate, ultimately become rent credits and are used toward your down payment. So it really gives you the opportunity to build equity before actually closing on the home. Now, also, if your down payment is less than 3.5% when you first start the rent-to-own process, then you can typically make up that, or come up to that 3.5%, usually during the first 12 months of the contract. Now, here's something to think about. Beware, ladies and gentlemen, of any company out there that says that they can do 50% rent credit, or you can do $1,000 down and 100% of your payment will go towards the down payment. Okay, these are scams. They don't work. You will never be able to get financing on the house because the company who will ultimately write the financing, be it Wells Fargo, whatever traditional lender out there, they're not going to accept that. Okay, you won't be able to qualify through underwriting to ultimately own the house that you've worked so hard financially to be able to afford. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about here, and as far as rent-to-own, is actually owner financing. This is different than rent-to-own in that you actually own the home from day one. Now, there's some huge benefits in doing owner financing, one of which is the tax deductions. And the thing you have to remember is that mortgage interest usually will constitute about 90 to 95% of your monthly payment, and it is fully tax deductible, as are the property taxes that you're going to pay, which usually run around $1,000 to $2,000 a year. You also have a lot easier refinance options, and we can typically structure a longer term in an owner financing situation. So if you need 3 or 4 or 5 years to qualify, or have some sort of circumstance where you need a long term, the more money you can put down, the more options are going to be available for you. Okay? Now, owner financing does require a higher down payment, and very simply, you're usually looking around somewhere around a 10% minimum. So let's talk about the 24 months to success plan. Okay? The first thing that you've got to do, folks, is start with a solid foundation and financial review. So that's something that our program absolutely includes. We will have your credit situation reviewed by one of our top-notch mortgage brokers, who will really be able to tell you, what you're going to be able to comfortably afford each and every month. They're going to determine what your credit score is today and any issues that are currently holding you back from getting traditional financing. Now, once we've gone through your actual financial situation, that's when we're going to be able to determine just how long it's going to take you to qualify for traditional financing based on your unique credit situation. Okay? And if there are credit issues that need to be resolved, then we can have our attorneys go to battle to ultimately fix your credit through a very aggressive credit repair program. Alrighty? So, the next thing that's going to happen in our 24-month success plan is that you're going to gain access to hundreds of rent-to-own homes when we represent you. Okay, Rent-to-Own Homes Utah is really a buyer's agency. Okay, we as licensed realtors will actually represent you and your interests. We're going to be able to give you access to dozens of homes that we acquire each and every month through our marketing efforts, as well as hundreds of homes that are currently listed on the multiple listing service. If for some reason we're unable to find a house that meets your specific needs, then we'll actually go to work on your behalf and find some of these hard to find for sale by owner homes. We also have a network of investors and other rent-to-own companies that we work with to ultimately be able to find the perfect home for you. And then last but not least, if you're in a situation where you can maybe put down 7 to 12% of the purchase price, we can actually go out and acquire pre-foreclosure houses in short sales, bank-owned properties, and ultimately purchase those and then resell them to you at a pretty substantial discount if you've got enough skin in the game to be able to do that. So, last but not least, as your agent in the transaction, we're ultimately going to protect your interests. In fact, we're legally obligated to do so. So we'll make sure that all contract terms are reachable and are ultimately going to work for you. We will set up the contract to make sure that it's going to pass underwriting and you're not going to run into any last-minute financing challenges. And then last but not least, all payments are going to be escrowed through a third-party escrow company with responsibility to pay the mortgage directly. And this is huge because oftentimes if a homeowner gets into a situation and a lease option, they might take your rent payment and not pay the mortgage, and then the house goes into foreclosure and everything that you've worked so hard to achieve just goes straight down the toilet. Okay. And last but not least, we're going to manage the contract timelines to really make sure that you can virtually guarantee you're going to own your own home in 24 months or less. Now, here's a few things that some of our clients have had to say. We can't thank you enough for making it possible for us to own a home after our recent financial crisis. We thought we'd have to rent forever until we met you. Thanks to your extremely flexible and very fair terms, we were able to move into our new home in less than 2 weeks. I've never had such a simple and pleasant buying experience. And that came from Harry and Suzanne Clark. We wanted to drop you a quick note to express our gratitude for all you've done to get us into our new home. When we first contacted you, we had no idea we could actually qualify for financing with just a few hoops to jump through. You've been incredibly flexible in working with us, an excellent guide throughout this process. Thank you so much for helping us own our first home. Levi and Janet King. Thank you for everything you did to get us in a home. We never thought it would happen so soon. This is something we have been hoping, dreaming, and praying about. Thank you for making it all come true. We are so excited and anxious to move. It will be so great for our boys. A place for them to run around and be free. Can't thank you enough. The Mitchell family. And this one is my favorite, folks. Well, it's been 2 weeks since we closed. There is no doubt in our mind if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be living in Utah today. To be honest, at first I was skeptical of you. I thought all rent-to-own companies were scam artists. But I was wrong about you and your company. You kept your word on everything you said you would do and directed us to an excellent mortgage broker where we got financing for our home. We have learned to trust you for the people you are and would highly recommend you. Thanks again for giving us a new start. Richard and Kathy Neff. All right, so let's talk about the price involved to get started in our 24-month success program. Okay, now we actually have a course that we do. It's a 3-day boot camp, and we charge $1,500 for this course. And really, what this is for is kind of the do-it-yourself, or I want to go out find my own rent-to-own home, or whatever else. Now, folks, what we're not going to do is we're not going to charge you $1,500. Okay, because ultimately, when we represent you, the seller's going to pay any fee that we make on this transaction. So it really, in that regard, there's really not a whole lot of upfront costs. Okay, but we're not going to charge you $1,500 to show you how to go out and buy a rent-to-own home. In fact, we're not going to charge you $1,000. We're not going to charge you $700. We're going to charge you $500. We have a one-time fee only of $100, and that really is just your application fee. It gives us a good sense of where you sit so that we can now go out and represent you and find the perfect home for you, and it includes your tri-merge credit report for you and a spouse if applicable. So how to get started. First things first, visit rentoandhomesutah.com/apply. Okay, tell us what areas you'd like to live and get first access to our new home listing. So when you actually sign up under our apply, you're going to have exclusive access to all of the homes that we bring in each and every day. Okay, you're going to fill out your application and pay the one-time fee of $100, and then we'll have you execute a buyer-broker agreement. And this agreement basically allows us to represent your interests and negotiate for you in the transaction. It really legally obligates us to make sure that we're putting together the thing safely and in your best interests. And then that's it, folks. Start shopping for your new home. Okay. Once you've engaged us to handle this whole process for you, we're going to be able to open up a massive market of homes available in the areas and price ranges that you want to live and are comfortable affording each and every month. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stop waiting. Get started today. You can sign up immediately at rentoandhomesutah.com/apply. And again, my name is Adam Loveridge with Rent-to-Own Homes Utah. Thank you very much for your time. I hope it's been well worth it, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks.